Hey guys, welcome back to my channel on all things Excel, math, and business tutorials. Today, we're going to be looking at pivot tables in Excel. In here, I have a data set of sociology books, and I have all the descriptions of it. I have the discipline, what kind it is, the area of study, the title of the book, I even have its edition, its year of copyright, how many units I sold wholesale, and the price per unit, my total sales for that wholesale. I also have the same information for retail, how many units I sold retail, my price per unit retail, my sales from retail, as well as my total sales for the category. Pivot tables are used in order to classify, organize, summarize, or shorten data to make it easier. See here we have so many things, it can be confusing to see one thing or another or compare. So what we want to do is we want to add a pivot table. In order to do so, we click on the insert at the very top of the page. At the very left we have tables. We click down and we have pivot table, recommended pivot tables, and table. Recommended pivot tables is just general styles of tables, just to give you an idea if you want something specific. But for this case, we're going to make our own. So all we are going to do is click pivot table. Now, we have this pop-up function that says pivot table. First, we want to make sure that our cell range is selected is correct. So we're going to click on this arrow and we're going to highlight all our data. So I'm starting from the discipline. I don't need my title at the top. I'm going to go all the way to the end to my last thing, total sales, and all the way down until I have everything. Once you do that, you hit enter, we come back to the window, and we see our cell range has our table. Now, the second thing is down below we have the option. We could leave this pivot table on the worksheet or an existing worksheet. If we click existing worksheet, it's going to keep it on the same page, and there's going to be so much information and data it might be hard to read or that. So now we're going to click new worksheet, because now when we hit OK, it opens up here, and if you want to name it, you could just double click and we'll say pivot table. And what happens is we get a blank pivot table. The reason it's blank is because we haven't made anything yet. So how do pivot tables work? Let's scroll down here. These are all our attributes from the table we talked about, the discipline, area, etc. And we're going to click total sales. Total sales drops into this value function, and here we have the pivot table summing all of total sales. In Excel, the default calculation in the values for pivot tables is sum. We also have all the other descriptive statistics that we'd like. All we have to do is change it is click down, click value field settings, and in this table we can scroll through. We have count, we have average, max, min, product, whatever you might like. For this case, we're going to stick with total sales because we're looking at our revenues. Now, say we wanted to look at the distribution of these total sales by year of copyright. So how much did we make from 2009 copyrights, 2010, etc. All we have to do is find our section up here, and we find copyright, and we're going to drag it down into rows. Now we have a table where on the left, we have our copyright years and the sum of total sales. Automatically, when you drag something to rows or columns, it's going to say row label and row column. To change that, all we have to do is double click it, and up here in the function bar, we'll just write copyright, because in this case, we're looking at years of copyright. Now we have a table showing the year and how much we made. So in 2009, we made this much off copyrights, off the books for those years, 2010 this much, and as well as our grand total. Now, we could also take the copyright and drag it to columns, and it will give you the same thing, but now you see that the columns are across. So here's 2009, and the numbers are the same. This is a personal preference on what you like better, but it doesn't matter. It's the same thing, it just looks different. I personally like the rows better, so I'll stick to this. To undo something, all we have to do is unclick it. So say we didn't want copyright. That was an accident. We'll just unclick it and say we wanted discipline. Now we'll just drag discipline down to rows, and again, we have the same table without copyright and discipline. Now, what if we wanted to do more than one thing? So not just copyright. What if I wanted discipline and the year of copyright and see how those sales did? So how did this book from this year do, the same book in this year, as well as the other books in other years? What I can do is I'll take discipline and drag it into rows. So here's my first stratification. I have my disciplines, and I'm going to rename that discipline. We had it there. And now, if I wanted to add columns, I find copyright to add it for columns. I'll take the copyright, I'll drag it into columns, and again, for column labels, I'm going to rewrite it as copyright. And now we have our table where over here, we have our discipline. On the columns, we have our copyright year. And we can see, so here, aging death 2009 netted us this much. Aging death 2010, this much, all the way on to 2012. Family for 2011 netted this much, and so on. At the bottom, we still have our grand totals, and go on. We could also do two calculations. So if we wanted the sum of totals, and let's say for some reason we wanted to count it as well, you can drag total sales down again, and now we have two sum of total sales. We could take one, go to value field settings, and change it to count. So now we're going to have here the count of total sales and the sum of total sales. Additionally, in addition to being able to change the type, we could also go to show values as, and maybe we don't want the count, the number. Maybe we want to show it as a percentage. What percent of our grand total, grand column, row, etc. We choose one. So let's say we wanted the percent of our grand total. We click that. We click OK. And now we see here that here's our sum of total sales. And here's the percentage. So let me highlight that first. So here's now the percentage of total sales we have. And here's our sum of total sales. The possibilities with pivot tables are endless, and it really helps making a lot of data being easy and able to sort in smaller things. It's more efficient. So if you're asked to find something very specific when you have a ton of data sets, a pivot table is the perfect tool. Thank you for watching my tutorial. If you liked it, you can like, comment, subscribe, or share to a friend, and let's try to help as many people as we can. See you guys on the next video.